So a while ago, I went ahead and posted a whole series on my approach to voice training for trans women. I've been getting a lot of questions again about my approach to voice training, so I decided to go ahead and stitch them all together and post them all right here in a nice long format. Right here, you'll have all 3 parts of my original series, and that should be able to get you started because it's what I did. I know my voice isn't perfect right now. I am a little sick, getting over being sick, whatever. But I hope that this helps you out and helps you get to a place where you want to be. Here's voice training lesson 1. Today, we're just going to focus on trying to get you to talk in your head voice rather than your chest voice. Now, there's a big difference between your head voice and a falsetto, and we'll go over that too. But first off, I want you to try to hum in the lowest pitch possible. You feel that in your chest, that vibration going on down there? You can probably even feel it by putting your hand on your chest. Now slowly increase that pitch to go all the way into your head voice. At some point, there might be a little break where you can't make a sound, but it'll come back. Now, are you feeling a little vibration behind your nose? You might even be able to put your hand between your eyes and feel a slight vibration. Here is where we want to be. So really practice on sitting in that tone, that pitch, as much as you can, because that's really going to help with your intonation and make you sound more feminine without fully changing very much. Now, I do want to make it a distinction between your head voice and your falsetto. Your falsetto is where it turns into more of a Minnie Mouse voice. That's where it just really gets high-pitched, hard to hear, hard to understand, all of that, and it sounds fake. So you really want to make sure you're sitting in that head voice as opposed to your chest voice or falsetto. Even just doing this step is going to go a long way in improving the way people perceive your voice. Even if you haven't really changed anything about your vocal range or anything like that, suddenly you might start getting people on phone calls calling you ma'am and things like that. So just really focus on getting into that head voice and it'll go a long way for you. Here's a little demo of the humming exercise that I described earlier. I hope that helps, and I'll see you next time for lesson 2, where we go over how to lift up your larynx to help with that resonance even more. Here's voice training lesson 2. Today we're going to talk about probably what's going to be the hardest step in all of this, and that's going to be strengthening your neck to raise your larynx while you talk, to improve your resonance to make it sound much more feminine. Now, whenever you put your hand on your neck and you swallow, you can probably feel your Adam's apple move up and down, right? Well, what I want you to try right now is to put your hand there and swallow and feel those muscles. Feel what muscles are pulling that up. Got it? Okay. Now I want you to try and swallow and tense those muscles to try and keep your Adam's apple held up and back. If you can't do that right now, that's okay. It takes a lot of work and it's very hard. The next steps to this are going to be trying to hold it up while you're breathing. And then finally, once you're very comfortable with that, you're going to try to do that while you're talking. Now, the biggest thing that you're going to struggle with here is learning to figure out which muscles exactly you need to tense so that you can still talk and breathe and all of that while having that raised. Now, this has a double effect of both improving your vocal resonance, but also getting rid of your Adam's apple. It will pull that away from the front and make it much less pronounced. One big thing to keep in mind though while you're doing this is to make sure you start slow. You're going to want to just do it for a couple of seconds at a time and build up slowly. You don't want to put too much strain on those muscles. You barely use them. So make sure you're doing it slowly and taking it easy and listening to your body when it starts to hurt. I'll see you all next time for lesson 3, where we're going to talk about some tips for increasing your vocal range so that you can talk comfortably in a higher pitch. It's time for the final voice training lesson. Today I'm going to go over how I worked on pitch to get a higher voice that sounds more feminine than just working on resonance. Remember, this is going to be your last step, as it's really the least important one. There are a lot of voice coaches out there, like on YouTube, that'll give you a bunch of different exercises and stuff to do. I've heard all sorts of things, even meowing, that can help with voice training. But my favorite thing to do that kept me engaged with my ADHD brain was singing. It's fun to do, you already do it, and you can get those results pretty quickly. Personally, what I did was I found a few female artists that have lower voices. Take, for example, Benny. She has a lower voice that's easier to hit. Even if you can't get it right away, you'll get there pretty quickly. As you continue on, you'll choose different artists that have higher and higher voices, and you'll want to make sure you're continuing to use your resonance skills as you're singing. So you're adding in pitch on top of proper resonance to get a full feminine sounding voice. Keep in mind that you do have limitations on your voice. You can train it pretty high, but there is a point where you just won't be able to get it any higher, and that's okay. Once you get to a place where you're comfortable, the next thing you're going to want to work on is being able to have a feminine sounding whisper, but even I haven't gotten that all the way down. It's really hard, so just keep working at it and don't overstrain yourself. Have fun with it, and I hope that you can get to some place that you're comfortable with soon. I hope this series was helpful for some of you, and I hope that you can all be happy in your own skin and with your own voice eventually. It takes work to get there, but I'm sure you'll do it. If you have any more questions, please feel free to let me know. And if you have other suggestions, let me know as well. I'm always open to anything, and if it's going to be helpful, I'll even make a video on it.